Welcome once again to my blog. If you're new here, please, after watching the video, hit the subscribe button. It's a new journey we're beginning together. Let's work together. Share the message, put comments where necessary, corrections or additions can be made. Otherwise, welcome once again. Today, I want to speak about the late Honorable Moses Malulu Injendi, or MMI, as they call him. He is the immediate former MP of Malava Constituency. Actually, he is the MP of Malava Constituency by the time I'm writing this, because he has not been replaced even in his death. The family of the MP and the people of Chemuche Ward suffered double tragedy on that Monday, February 17th, when they received the news that Moses Malulu Injendi had passed on at Aga Khan Hospital. Why double tragedy? It's because Malulu's elder brother, the 80-year-old prison officer, Samuel Injendi, had passed on the February 16th. And then Mheshimiwa Malulu passes on February 17th. It was a really tough time. And we could see his brother, Eddie Savula Kwalanda, and one of the wazes of the Abasonje, actually the secretary, is called Peter Masai, calling on leaders and area residents to join the family at a difficult moment and give Mheshimiwa Malulu a befitting send-off. Who is Malulu Injendi? Malulu Injendi was born 1970 from the Abasonje clan in the Kabras community of the Luya speakers in Kakamega County. He's a grandson of Muchina Omu Semusambai and Daria Atamba Shalo Seamoka Omwanzasi, all of Shitrila village, Chemuche Lugusi ward, the Malava Constituency. You mention those names, then you are straight at the home of Malulu Injendi. The word Malulu in Luya means bitter ones. In Malava Forest, I understand, because my mother comes from Malava as well, my late mother. She's my uncle is the former deputy governor, is called Professor Kutima. So I know something here and there about Malava and the Cabras. Later on, maybe we'll talk about those Luya dialects. But for today, let's stick on Malulu. Malulu means bitter ones in Luya, I think generally. In Malava Forest, there is a tree that bears the yellow fruits. And that milky juice from the tree is called Malulu. I don't know if Honorable Malulu Injendi was named after that tree, that fruit of the tree, or it's just a name that came about. But if you are a Cabra speaker and you come from a family, please give us a comment below and indicate how his name came about, because all your names have immediate meaning and connotation, either related to circumstances, events, activities, or people who had passed on and have a great legacy that the name carries on to keep. So Malulu Injendi was born from a father who was a chief. Unfortunately, he never got to see his father in his adulthood, because his father died when he was 10 years old. And his mother is the one now who took care of him right from the Manguliro primary up to university. Now, his formal education began in 1974 when he joined Manguliro Primary. I think later on he joined the Lugusi Primary School, all in the Cabras. And in 1981, the legislators had for his then called CPE, Certificate of Primary Education, Class 7. He passed very well, and he proceeded to do his all levels. CBC nafikiri inaanza kushika rhythm kama hiyo. So all levels then was between Form 1 and Form 5. It was almost like what that now they're calling the junior secondary, but then they're calling it all levels. So he sat for his all levels, 1982, at the St. Ignatius Mukumu Boys High School, still in Kakamega County. The paper he sat for is called the Kenya Certificate of Education. That was in 1987. He passed very well. And given that he passed, he proceeded then to continue the education, and he joined the A levels at the St. Peter's Mumias High School, where he sat for his Kenya Advanced Certificate of Education. And he also passed very well, and he was called to the university. He was called to the University of Egerton to study Bachelor of Arts in Economics and Sociology. But between the period he finished his A levels, back then, people who have finished A levels were very, very valuable people to the society because they went back to their home village and they became untrained teachers. It is the norm with most of those period time scholars that before they joined university or or during the university, they would still offer their services of education to various institutions within their constituency because teaching and teachers were in shortage at those particular times. The country was just a developing country, and they played a very good role. Malulu also did that. He went back to Lugusi Secondary School, and he was teaching as an unpaid teacher with a salary of 800 shillings. Quite an amount then for somebody who has just finished school. I think later on after that, he joined the NYS for his paramilitary, as was the norm then when before you join university, if you have passed your academic and you had to go through the NYS. In 1991, Mheshimiwa Malulu Injendi then attained his Bachelor of Arts Economic Sociology from the Egerton University. And his thirst for knowledge led him now to do his Masters in Sociology, Masters of Arts in Sociology at the University of Nairobi, where he graduated in 1996. His thirst for education again didn't end there, so that in 2008, he enrolled to Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University in South Africa, where he was pursuing his PhD. He had not finished it up until his death. I think his academic were interrupted when he joined politics, so to speak. But in Parliament, they recognized him as one of the few MPs who had PhDs. So that was his background in education. And immediately after that, we want to find out his employment history. He never had a colorful, the ones that you are working from different positions, different places. He was very specific. After Egerton University, he got employed by the Catholic University. So in 1996, he went in as a lecturer and he was teaching there until 2013. Remember, 2013 is when he first started. He joined politics and he joined parliament as an MP. So between 1996 and 2013, he was a lecturer at the Catholic University. Also, in that Catholic University, as he was lecturing, he also got the position of a registrar, and that he began his journey by being a deputy registrar. That is 1998 until 2001. He attained now the full position of a registrar in 2001, and that ended around 2009. His academic endeavors have put him in positions of leadership in academic institutions. He has been member of board of governors at the St. Teresa's Youth Training Colleges in Malava since 2011. He has been a member of board of governors in St. Anthony Kakoi Secondary School up to his demise. And between 2008 and 2009, sorry, 2008 and up to 2012, he has been in the board of governors at the Lugusi Secondary School. First, as a member between 2008 and 2012, and later on as a chairman in 2009 up to 2012. So, how did he join politics? The notion of politics first struck him in around 2011. That was 2 years to the general election, which was then 2013. But he mooted the idea to his friends, members of his family, members of his clan, and they gave him a full support. And he didn't have the resources, but he had the confidence and he had the will to lead the people of Malava. So he began a fundraising in Nairobi, in various spaces, and he would do regular visits back home most weekends, and just to campaign slowly and make his name known. Um, Apart from the fundraisings, he took his shares. Where he was a chairman of a circle of the Malava-based professionals, which was called Kefaso. Kefaso is Cabras Family Society, and he was the chairman. So he took all his shares from the circle and he liquidated them. He also sold some plot he had in Ongatarongai, and he sold his own house that he had built in Nkoroi, Kiserian. His son has shown us a picture of what happened when they moved to a Mabati house after he had sold that, the privilege of having a house, and just to move in a very modest space so that he can sacrifice and utilize his funds to become the next MP. Uh, in his quest to become a politician, an MP, of course, the Kenyan politics is that you have to have at least a political background in terms of a party. So his first quest was to look for a political party, and by then, in Western Province, the most popular political party then was the ODM, Orange Democratic Movement, led by His Excellency Right Honorable Raila Odinga. In Western, there was a former MP from Butere who wanted to be a governor. He was called Wycliffe Oparanya, and by then we considered him as the leader of especially the people of Kakamega. They considered him as the leading elite because he had tested power by becoming a minister for regional planning and so on and so forth. So Malulu naturally went to Oparanya to request that he be endorsed as the ODM candidate in Malava. But I think he went a little bit late because Oparanya and the ODM outfit had already put in somebody. So they requested Malulu, Oparanya that is, requested Malulu to become his deputy governor because he was vying for governor of Kakamega County. But Malulu declined because his eyes were set on Malava. So because ODM was not available, he went now to the next Luya leader, who was now Musalia Mudavadi. Musalia Mudavadi had an outfit called the United Democratic Front, UDF, and Malulu went and joined the UDF. And we started campaigning for endorsement of the UDF ticket so that they can be an MP under the banner of UDF in the primaries. So within the primaries, he lost because Mudavadi had already set his eyes on somebody else. So he lost to a gentleman. He's called Saidi Hasavuli. He lost to Saidi Hasavuli, but they felt that he was the most popular candidate. And the ground was wanted him. He felt that the ground needed him to be the MP, the next MP, not Kasavuli or anyone else to stand on his way. So he almost gave up, but one of his friends, I think I can't remember his name, but he's the chairman of Malava Development Forum. I'll touch on that later on. Urged him to continue, and he looked at a very nondescript party which was called Maendeleo Democratic Party. Maendeleo Democratic Party was founded by a gentleman who is the late also. It was called Hamisi Omokanda. Now, Hamisi Omokanda is very interesting because he's an elder brother of our PS for higher education, Dr. Beatrice Inyangala. So Hamisi Omokanda had an outfit called Maendeleo Democratic Party, and he didn't even waste so much time on primaries. He gave him a certificate straight away so that he can be the MP of Malava. And he became the MP of Malava in 2013 under the Maendeleo Development Party. When he was in parliament, politics started hitting hard on him because Maendeleo Democratic Party didn't have the so-called political ideals that he would, put in his heart and cherish. But he was grateful that it is the vehicle that brought him to parliament. So his ideals by then, I think he stood so much to be represented by the party called Jubilee. So he leaned on the Jubilee party, and the Maendeleo Democratic Party felt very unfairly treated. He was the only MP for the Maendeleo Democratic Party, so they really had to fight for him to, broadcast MDP in parliament so that they can become a formidable political force in future. But he chose Jubilee Party, and they tried to stop that by a court, but they didn't succeed. So, having had a alliance with Jubilee, naturally in the 2017 election ticket, he vied under the Jubilee ticket, and again he won the Malava primaries. After 2017, there was so much political heat around 2022, especially political reorganization again, which was happening. Jubilee Party was almost dying in Western Province, was not an exception. All the MPs associated with the Jubilee Party were either defecting or stepping down. And I remember my MP is called Dr. No, he's called Emmanuel Wangwe, who was in Jubilee as well. He moved to ODM. Bishop Hamala for Lurambi also moved to ODM. He went, I think, ANC, then ODM, and so on and so forth. But for Malulu, who was at the UDF, Jubilee, remember that at some particular time he had fronted Musalia Mudavadi. So now he was right on time, and he fronted him, and he went and he joined the ANC. And in 2022, he again got elected under the ANC banner. And that is what he was positioned in parliament up to date. When he died, he was an MP under the ANC within the Kenya Kwanza formation. I think February last year, somebody challenged that, and the court said he remains the legitimate MP for Malava. He had so much ideals and hope for the Malava people in terms of education and infrastructure. He requested for a road to be built. That was not to be built, but on his deathbed, the road that he was fighting for all these years was now in parliament. We hope that during the funeral, it will not be only a promise from the president that the road will be made, but also that the road can also be now tarmacked, properly, and it becomes functional. He also, before he died, one of his last legacy, he formed the Malava Development Foundation, because he felt that the people of Malava need to have a development focus train that is separated from the politics of Malava. And then that's why he founded the Malava Development Foundation. Mheshimiwa Malulu Injendi is survived by four sons: Ryan Injendi, Melvin Shallow, Arnold Kuloba, and the last born, Adrian Musonye, and the widow, Betty. We wish that his soul to rest in eternal peace. He for sure filled in the shoes of his predecessor, one of Malava's great, called Soita Shitanda, who also died, and people mourned him in the same way they are mourning Malulu Injendi in Malava. Now it's Malulu who has passed on. We are hoping that the people of Malava are going to put somebody again into that seat that will emulate and follow the footsteps of the predecessor of the Soita Shitanda and Malulu Injendi movement in terms of thinking, forward thinking, and development policies for the people of Malava. And may his soul rest in eternal peace. Fare thee well, Malulu Injendi.